Hello class. Until now you have seen me in public administration class or in NCERT foundation batch. So today what you will see a different aspect in your studies. Today I am going to take one new aspect, that is ethics, integrity and aptitude, that was introduced in UPSC in 2014. So first of all you should know that many students of public administration and also some students of NCERT foundation batch, they used to ask me very usual question, sir, why you are not taking ethics, or they were having lots of confusion on this aspect also. So it was decided that I will also take classes of ethics, integrity and aptitude. Although what you are seeing here is somewhat different. Here it is written ethics through questions. So this is same as per ethics, integrity and aptitude, but the difference comes when we talk about approach. So my approach is going to be different than others what you have seen in other coaching or whatever other teacher. Okay. So this is a orientation class for ethics, integrity and aptitude, and you already know not only in UPSC, okay, in UPPCS also, UPPCS, Madhya Pradesh PCS as well as Rajasthan PCS, they are having either little bit focus on ethics, integrity and aptitude, that is in Rajasthan, I think in GS 3 or GS 2, they are having one small, very little syllabus on ethics, integrity and aptitude. Same goes with Madhya Pradesh PCS, but UPSC and UPPCS, they are having one complete different paper related to ethics, integrity and aptitude. Okay, so before starting lecture on ethics, integrity and aptitude, it was decided that I should tell you little bit about the background, why this paper was introduced, what was the need of this paper, why ethics is important in life, and what are some sources so that you can study ethics from there. Okay, so before starting, what I am going to do, I will give you a little bit overview of today's lecture. So first aspect which we are going to see is why this paper was introduced in UPSC. Why ethics was introduced in UPSC. Why ethics was introduced in UPSC. Okay. And in today's lecture, you don't need to make any notes. Just what you need to do, just try to listen. Okay. And if you are facing any problem, just what you can do, pause the video, take some break and come again after you are feeling fresh, right? The second aspect which we will see is importance of this paper or importance of ethics in final selection in UPSC exam. So second aspect which we are going to see is importance of ethics in final selection. Okay. And when we say final selection, we talk about All India Services, which is basically Indian Administrative Service and Indian Police Service, that is IAS and IPS. Okay. Third aspect which we are going to see today is importance of ethics not only in this paper or in UPSC but also in life. What is going to be role of ethics in your life? Okay. And the fourth aspect, some space issue is there, that's why I am writing here. The fourth aspect I am going to explain you is what is going to be our approach when we study ethics. And very interesting, the approach which I will follow is little bit different from other teachers or other, you can argue, coaching. Okay. And the last aspect is on demand, है ना? Although I was not going to introduce this aspect, but on demand of students, this aspect I think I need to cover, because many students came with this query, sir, what we should study for ethics? What are the sources which we should refer for this paper? Okay. So I will focus on, that is very little bit, just a passing remark on this aspect, that is sources to refer for ethics. Okay. Sources to refer for ethics. Okay. So let us revise again what we are going to study today. What we are going to see, the first aspect which we are going to see today is why ethics is introduced in UPSC. What was the need of this paper? Why not to introduce any other paper, let's say law? Why rather than law, or let's say geography, history, why this paper was especially introduced, right? Second aspect which we will see is importance of ethics in final selection. That is, if you want to become IAS officer, or let's say IPS officer, or even say what is that service, foreign service officer, what is the role of this ethics, especially how important is ethics in selection? The third aspect which we are going to see is importance of ethics in life. More than ethics is very important in governance aspect, but it also plays very important role in your life, especially in your personality when you are going in some social function. Okay. And fourth aspect I told you, that is our approach, that is going to be little bit different from others. Okay. And on demand, the fifth approach, that is what are sources we are going to see in ethics. Okay. So the first aspect is already written here, why this paper was introduced and when this paper was introduced. This paper was introduced in 2013. Okay. When notification of exam came in 2014, the pattern of the exam was completely changed. Okay. Not only ethics, even GS 1, 2, 3 were the new aspects introduced in this year. Okay. But no one was surprised when this type of pattern came. Okay. But the main focus was ethics, that is GS 4, ethics, integrity and aptitude. So for knowing why this paper was introduced, we need to actually revisit 5 years, that is from 2008 we need to start seeing what were the changes which were going on, by which influenced, or you can say which made it necessity that this paper should be introduced in UPSC. Okay. So in 2008 what happened? One big crisis happened in USA. That is crisis of one bank, Lehman Brothers. What was this bank? This bank was related to housing loan. This bank used to give what? Housing loan. Okay. So the moment this bank collapsed, actually the impact directly came to India, especially in urban India. The impact was huge. So at that time India was like a booming economy. But one aspect started coming, that the main problem in Indian system is related to governance. Governance is a big problem when it comes to Indian system. Okay, or Indian, let's say, government of India. So the first complaint started coming from here. Okay. Second, this is the first, and this is happening in which year? 2008. Okay. Now just see the second aspect. In 2010 one survey was there. In 2010 one survey was there. It was done by Department of Administrative Reforms. Okay. Department of Administrative Reforms, that is Ministry of Personnel, which is directly under Prime Minister of India. It is always under Prime Minister of India. Okay. In that survey, civil servant themselves participated. है ना? They themselves responded to some questions. है ना? And if you want to read that survey, what you can do, just visit the website, download this report and just study. Actually, I have taken all aspects which I am explaining you from there only. Okay, so that report was known as what? Civil Service Survey Report 2010. Civil Service Survey. And just write this on internet and you will get whole report in PDF. Okay. In this survey, only 25% of our bureaucracy, that is top level bureaucracy, either they are from railway, either they are from post, either they are from income tax, either they are a part of Indian administrative service, either they are part of police service, either they are part of, let's say, audit service, all participated. But sadly, only 25% people responded, and in that 25% people, bureaucrats, they argued that, they agreed that 25% people or bureaucrats are there who are mainly, who are bound by integrity when pressure is coming. So what is pressure? Pressure means when a politician is calling to bypass some rule. Okay, it is as simple as it is. Okay, so they argued that integrity is very less in governance, and this is not external report, this is the report of Government of India itself. Okay, the third aspect, and remember this is what, 2010. In 2011, okay, in 2011, some Swedish company, you may have heard one company, very famous bus company, Scania. Scania buses are very famous these days in India. Scania is what? Scania is a Swedish company. So lots of Swedish company complained that the corruption in India is another name of bureaucracy. Okay, corruption and bureaucracy. They argued that although India is okay, good for business opportunities, but problem is there that bureaucracy in India is synonymous with corruption. Okay, this is third aspect. This is not only one report. Many reports were there. Just I am quoting the reports which I find very interesting. Okay, the fourth aspect, why this paper came, just understand the background. The moment you understood the background, you will understand why the need of paper, the need of ethics paper was there in UPSC exam. One very famous organization is there, very famous name, Transparency International. And in this report, Transparency International, when it comes to corruption related issues, India was constantly at the top. Huge problem of corruption was found in Indian governance system. And when it surveyed and it found that the first body which is the most corrupt in India is police system. Police system topped the rank, and second body which topped after this was which body? Income tax department. Okay. Anyway, these are just background. Okay. And the fifth aspect, which is very, very important, and again it is related to government service itself. This is related to government committee, that is Second Administrative Reform Commission, which was initially chaired by Second Administrative Reform Commission. Initially it was chaired by M. Veerappa Moily, which was at that time, I think, Law Minister of India. M. Veerappa Moily. And second ARC, just read the starting line of second ARC and you will find their very extreme comment on governance aspect. They told that lack of poor quality of governance is one of the main reason for failing Gandhiji idea of Swaraj. They directly hit governance, that governance, the aspect of governance is in India is very poor. Not only this, they also focused on ethics aspect and they argued that there is a lack of ethics in polity, in society and in governance. Lack of ethics in polity, society, okay, and in governance. And the moment you argue about these things, actually in some way you are also targeting, you are also questioning the human personnel which are coming in governance process, and ultimately UPSC is responsible for human personnel, okay, or human resource, whatever you like, you can argue, okay. So it was very clear in 2012 and in 2012 up to 2012 it was very clear that the pattern of this exam, the pattern of IS exam was going to be undergo complete change. But it was only in 2013 when UPSC completely changed the pattern of this exam. Okay. Now why they changed, why they are achieving this aspect, why they are solving this problem by this paper. Okay. For that you need to know now how to solve this problem of corruption, problem of governance, how to solve. See, actually there are two processes by which you can solve, then only you can grasp whole complete picture about why UPSC introduced that in UPSC mains exam. See, when you talk about solving ethics, there are basically two approaches to solve this. Okay, there are basically two approaches by which you can solve. First one is internal approach. First one is what? Internal approach. Okay, and second one is what? External approach. Okay. Now what is this internal and external approach? Very simple. External approach means let's say some problem is there, just make law, very strict law on that. But do you think UPSC has power to make law? Obviously no. So UPSC, the relation of UPSC with this is nothing. There is no relation between UPSC and external approach to solve the aspect of ethics. So what UPSC can do? By inserting one paper, actually what they can achieve, they can solve this goal of governance, this crisis, by following this approach, internal approach. Why not to select those people who are ethically very good, ethically very sound, their personality is ethically very nice, or they are morally very good. Not only with this paper, but with interview, UPSC can test this. So very obvious, following this approach, that is internal approach, UPSC introduced this paper as GS4 and the paper name is Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude. Right? Very simple. Now what we will do? We will move to second aspect, that is what is importance of this paper in final selection. Okay? In final selection, that is obviously everyone give this exam for either they dream of getting all India service, that is IS, either IPS or IAS, administration or police, है ना? Okay, so what we will do, we will take average marking in GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, essay, optional and interview. Okay, so let us argue on the basis of average marking. Okay, so in GS1 average marks, how much people are scoring? Around 100. Okay, same goes with GS2. Little bit less also may come in GS2 because it is very difficult to score marks in GS2. GS3, है ना, easy to score marks, 100 marks. Essay, है ना, 140 we can take. Optional, let's say 275. Okay, and interview again takes some average marks, that is 170 marks. So if you add all these things, it will come around 870 or 80. Okay, or even 900, around that it will come. But for getting all India service, that is IAS and IPS, how much marks you want? You want around 1000 marks. Okay, 1000 plus marks. The more you score, the better rank you get, and the better rank you will get better service as well as better cadre to serve. Okay. So in ethics, it is very obvious that there is a huge scope to score 120 to 135 marks. Okay, and due to ethics only, if you are having good command in ethics, you should be damn sure that you are getting either IS or you are getting IPS. Okay, so that is the importance of ethics in your final selection. Either you are getting all India service or you are going to get what? Central Civil Service. है ना? That will be decided by, although essay and optional is also important, but ethics plays very important role. For example, just 2 years before, one girl was there, some 5th or 6th rank was there. She scored around 165 marks in ethics only. Okay. Now we will come to our third aspect, that is what is importance of ethics in our life. Okay. See, the first aspect you should know, when we are growing, there is a socialization process. Okay, there is a socialization process which starts from when you are a child. So what happens with time, we will get some prejudice about any community. Let's say you are a Muslim, you will get some prejudice against Hindu. If you are Hindu, you will get prejudice against Muslim. Same goes with caste also. If you are from upper caste, you will get prejudice against lower caste, or let's say Dalit. If you are from OBC or let's say SC/ST, you will get prejudice against upper caste. So what happens if you are studying ethics? Actually, these all things will break. You will be able to overcome this prejudice which is there in your personality, which you may not know. Okay, because your behavior is directly related to this ethics only. How it is related? Obviously, in future lecture we are going to explore that option. Okay, so what will happen? The moment this prejudice, you are able to control your prejudice, the constitutional values will started developing in your personality. And what are those constitutional values? They are what? Equality, fraternity, liberty. Okay? And the moment constitutional values started developing in your personality, you are a fit person for civil service, for governance, because this was the dream of our constitution maker, very famous name, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Okay, in Constitutional Assembly, in his famous speech, he argued that society should imbibe its constitutional values in itself. Okay, not only society, individuals should imbibe constitutional values such as equality, liberty, and fraternity in itself. Then only the concept of freedom is complete. Okay, so this is the first very important aspect, that how ethics is important in your life, not only in your life but also when you will go in government as a government officer. Okay, second aspect, see, for government job, for group A job, actually one aspect is needed very much, that is called patience. Okay, very famous quote from Ashoka. Ashoka has said that if you have patience, you can rule the whole world. Okay, if you want to write that, very important quote by Ashoka, Ashoka the Great, if you have patience, you can rule the world. Because for solving dispute, for resolving dispute between two people, two country, two society, two groups, whatever it is, opposing party, first aspect what you need is patience, and patience is the root of governance. Hana? Patience is the root of governance. Hana? This patience, if you want, you can see in everyday challenges of policing. Policing, the best police person is that person who is having patience, because obviously in developing countries such as in India, there is always a huge challenge of resources. People are more, demand are more, but sadly we don't have that much resource. Okay, so obviously we need to compromise, we need to distribute the resources in a equal way so that every group is satisfied. That itself is a not very easy job. When you are related to governance, when you are part of government, that is a very huge problem. The best example you can see now is related to farmers' protest. So what is happening? One group is arguing that the moment you are passing this law, economically we will lose. They are also known as middlemen who are related to this law. But another lobby is there, another group is there. They are saying we are small farmers, we neither own any land, neither we have any marketing opportunities. So this law should be passed and implemented. So obviously what is happening? You have two conflicting groups. Now anything which is needed for solving this problem or resolving this problem is what? Patience. With patience you need to sit with two opposing party and you need to resolve. And this is the story of everyday administration in any department. Either it is revenue department, either it is police department, either it is commerce department, or either it is a home department. This patience you will only develop if you have good command on ethical perspective in your personality, in your society. Okay. So this was the I think third aspect which we covered. Now what is going to our approach? How we will study this paper. So this paper which I have designed for you is actually what I have done. I have discussed with lots of students. Either they are fresher, either they have given one attempt, either they are given two attempts. So I found that basically four types of students are there. First, those type of students are there who are able to understand the concept, but they are facing problem in answer writing aspect. Okay, so I will write ability to understand, but difficulty in answer writing. Okay, difficulty in answer writing. Second type of students are those who have good command on answer writing. But the problem is that they are not able to understand the concept itself. So problem in answer writing, but difficult to understand the concept. Okay, difficulty in understanding the concept. Third type of student, they are neither able to understand the concept nor they are able to write the answer. Okay, neither they are capable of understanding the, okay, I may be wrong, not capable, you can argue that they are facing some difficulty in, or they are facing this problem of not understanding the concept, and their answer writing aspect is also weak. These things are not related to capability. I may have spoken wrong. Okay, so don't mind much. The fourth aspect is you have good command on concept also, as well as you can write your answer in a very nice form. Okay, so my approach is influenced by these three aspects. Okay, these three aspects. Okay, point number 1, 2, 3, my approach will be able to solve the problem of these three aspects. What is our approach? So see, what we will do, let us take some concept. Let us say one concept is there in ethics, probity. So what I will do, I will take one question from this concept. The concept itself will be taken in question form. Okay, after taking that in question form, we will first understand the concept. First we will understand the concept. Okay, after that we are going to understand the structuring of the question, how to write the question, structuring of the answer. So what happens? We are taking the concept, we are understanding the concept, we are also understanding how to structure the question or your answer as per question demand. Later on we will elaborate that. Okay, so all ethics, all topics of ethics I will be covering with this approach only. By this approach, what will happen? Those guys who are unable to understand the concept, they will able to understand the concept. Those guys who are unable to write, they are facing in problem in answer writing, those guys will also get their answer writing perspective developed. In class itself, you don't need to practice any another test separately or any another thing separately. Okay, so this is going to be our approach to ethics. Okay, now last aspect, the sources which you need to refer. Okay, see, when it comes to sources, they are very simple. First, though, obviously, when I am teaching in class, from next class, what you need to do, you need to make notes. So first you need to revise all notes you are making in this class, right? Second, what you need to do, you need to refer to daily newspaper which you may be doing for, let's say, GS. For ethics also you need to do same thing. So which newspaper you need to refer? You need to refer either Indian Express or The Hindu, very famous newspaper. If you are living in Delhi, okay, you can very easily buy this paper. But if you are living outside Delhi, let's say in some small town or village, what you can do, just download this paper online. Anyway, just refer